Okay, so back at it once again. It's cold out here. Turn on this car, get some heat circulating up in this. So, um, I've had to take it real easy today. I've needed a lot of rest, and I don't even know where the fuck to start. So for one, I just keep picking up on like Aquarius vibes, right? So my grandmother was an Aquarius. She passed not too long ago. And my job hit me up because, they have a meeting for February 15th, but my grandmother's birthday was on February 14th. So I had plans on going out. She lives in Kentucky, So usually me and my sisters, we get together and, we celebrate her life. So if I go to Kentucky and visit her site, or if I meet up with my sisters, either way, I'm going to be traveling a long distance, and I'm not going to be back in time for that meeting anyway. I gotta let this woman know, and when I woke up, because my son's father, God is showing through him, because I'm just like, why is he so fucking happy? you know, he usually walking around complaining, all this, he just, like just walking around silly and happy. So I'm just like, well, okay, I know that that's God, it's just the glow in his face and the look in his eyes. You know what I'm saying? So, I can tell. So, you know, he went to the grocery store, and something in me, was just like, well, I want to go too. I really didn't want to go, but when I said I wanted to go, it's like I didn't even think about it. It's like it just came out. So usually he don't want me to go to the store with him, in case he meet a woman, he be he's just like, well, how am I gonna meet somebody if they see me with you? So I was just like, boy, whatever, because I could be your sister or some shit like that, like just. So at first he was just like, well, come on. Then he was just like, no. So then he tried to drive off and leave me when I was coming out. And I was like, motherfucker, just being silly. So I was glad. I know that I needed to get out. I don't feel like there's anything going on in my home, like I'm not picking up on anything, but to get outside was, it was beautiful. When I first stepped outside, it's kind of like my vibration just went down. And it's like I was being confronted about a lot of things that deep down inside I'm going through. There are spirits, and I do believe that some of these people are earth angels. These are individuals that know of me from the internet. And, it just kind of seems like everybody is in competition because everybody wants the opportunity to be able to help me heal over the situation with dealing with this guy. Because obviously, I need a little more assistance. So I couldn't understand. It just felt like my energy was being pulled in multiple directions, and I'm just like, what is going? I was just so tired. I'm just sitting there in the car, and I'm just calm and just like slumped, and I'm just like what's, I don't understand. So when I started moving around in the store and all that type of stuff, and I saw foods that were making me happy, my mood began to change. So that's when I was enlightened, that individuals, people are fighting for the opportunity to help me heal. I just, and I said, no competing. Like, I think that I need everybody's help on this situation because motherfuckers, they know me. You know what I'm saying? I have worked really hard to be and grow into who I am today. Coming from a past to where it's a very challenging past, and especially dealing with men. And some of these people have been with me since 2017. They have been on this journey with me. And, we all kind of like be looking out for each other when it comes to healing each other. So, this situation has just been like very devastating for me because it's kind of like and that's the thing, like I have not cried about it yet. I have not cried about it because I just, like my spirit guides, God, my deities, especially my deities, they take it so personal when I cry, and I just don't want anything bad to happen to this person. You know what I'm saying? So I've just been suppressing like my tears and stuff like that. But when I was in the store, I came to the realization, I was just like, I haven't cried about the situation. So I have not purged, I have not purged the toxicity yet. It's kind of like, it's like I'm God's daughter, right? So God led me to this man, and the day in which it was expected for me to show up, it's like God stripped me of everything and had me in full exposure of innocence and vulnerability. It's kind of like God sat down with me. He was doing my hair. He was helping me with my makeup, like helping me pick out something to wear. It's kind of like wrapping a gift. So I don't even know why I'm tripping though, because I'm gonna tell you, like, I had got 2 warnings. I had got 2 warnings, but it's kind of like I just didn't want to believe it. Like, I just didn't want to accept it. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is that, I had, this was pretty much a sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? God will use us as sacrifices, to be able to help other people. And I'm never worried about it, because even if I get hurt, I always, heal myself. I always have help. I always have assistance. Like, I bounce back. With dealing with men in relationships, I have built so much of myself. It's kind of like, I'm not bothered, because my thing is that if shit fucks up, I may feel some type of way, but I'm able to move on and detach from it, because my biggest thing is that, I want the one. I want the person that I'm supposed to be with. And I feel like motherfuckers are saving me time, and they're saving me energy, when they expose that they are not it. So I really don't be taking that shit personal, even though, I do have to go in and heal myself from it. But, I bounce back really, really fast. But, this situation, it keeps lingering. It just keeps lingering. So, then I was triggered by my job texting me, and, that's around the time my grandmother passed. Well, that's not her passing, but that was her birthday. She passed on January 3rd. Okay. But her birthday is February 14th. So, and then my son's father, there's this woman at the grocery store. He always says that she reminds him of my grandmother. So he took me over there. He took me over there to her. She doesn't look like my grandmother, but she sounds like my grandmother, and she talks like my grandmother. So, while I'm in the store, I just kind of like broke down, and I was just like, man, I miss my grandma. And then I came to the realization that my grandma is mourning, so I'm just like, okay, there's so many different things going on with me personally. Then there are so many things going on with other individuals, that are in, that need my help, that need my assistance. So, when I was connecting, when I was, dealing with this guy, his spirit guide's name was Tony. And my grandmother, her oldest son is named Tony. And Uncle Tony, he ended up leaving America and going over to, I want to say Europe. And he was like a famous jazz. He was a very well-known jazz musician, but he was also a pastor too. So, I think that my grandmother has something going on with that too. Dealing with this man was very it's very triggering. Like, his energy is just triggering for me. The shit triggering for my grandma. It's triggering for my spirit guys. I'm just like, damn, like, what is going on with this man? Like, it's like he has this deep void. It's like deep. I've never met somebody with such a deep void, with such an emptiness on the inside. You know, I was completely blind to the situation, but that was very purposeful. So, my grandmother told me, she says that she really liked that man too. I'm just like, well, ain't this about a bitch like you? Your ass. You, I mean, you sitting up here got me attracted to this older man because your ass. And it's funny because my grandmother was really tall. She likes short men. This guy is not short, but he's not that much taller than me. Like, my grandma is way taller than him. You know what I'm saying? And she tells me he reminded her of my grandfather. Her and my grandfather has split up. Her and my mother's relationship around my grandfather, it's very touchy. I don't really know what was going on. That's their family situation. I be hearing so many different stories. I'm just like, look, I really don't care. I hope that motherfuckers get it together, but whatever. But she tells me, like, he reminds me so much of your grandfather. And when they they split up, but a couple of years before my grandmother passed, my grandmother was just like, Mitchell was good to me. She said, you really don't know. You don't know it. She said, you don't know it during the time, but when it's over, and after all of this time, because my grandfather, he passed like way before, you know what I'm saying? Me and my sisters, not way before. So my mother's father passed when she was 19. Then I believe my father's father passed when he was about, I don't know, like his mid or early 20s. So the trauma of losing their fathers is kind of what really brought them together. You know what I mean? But not really. My mother was a singer and my father is a producer. She was working at a club. He was there. They started talking music. She wanted to go to California to start, like, get into her career. He told her, don't go over there with no material. He had a studio in his home, so he's just like, come on over, we'll get you, we'll create some material for you, and then you could go over there to California. My mom tells me one thing after another. They was drinking, sniffing coke, and then they ended up having sex, and then next thing you know, my older sister. Okay, so I don't know what the point of me was telling you that. My thing is that the two of them had, like, and when I talk about trauma bonding, this is the trauma bond. Rather you're aware of it or rather you're not. Because whenever we're dealing with unhealed trauma and we bond to somebody, it's a place to where we feel safe, we feel good. We think that this place is healthy for us to be in. Like I tell people, there's nothing wrong with trauma bonding, because when you trauma bond with somebody, that's when you fall in love with them. But once we fall in love, we have to rise in love. We go from heavy to light, and then we start creating the relationship after that. So, I don't know why the fuck I say anything about trauma bonding too. So, my grandmother, I was just like, Grandma, I didn't even know you was there. I said, I didn't even know you was there. I was just like, so we would have both been dating this man, and she was just like, yeah, because she has lessons to learn in love, and she's just like, you're not going to be able to do that with, with anybody else. She tried to say with any young man. I've dated older guys too since she's passed on, but most of them have been white guys. She's not really feeling the white guys. So, and, this guy, he doesn't look anything like my grandfather, but I don't know him. She did know my grandfather. So she know what she see in this man. I don't understand what I see. All I know is that if God says it's okay, then it's the fuck okay, because I had, in 2021, it was prophesied, God told me that I wouldn't be able to have sex with my husband. So God was just like, that's how you're going to know that is the one, but shit has switched up. So I don't know, but, then on top of that, fuck, I forgot what the point in which I was trying to make. Okay, so then on top of that, it's kind of like, if I have somebody especially for me, then I can't just be out here dating. You know, like, I'm just not really into the dating shit, to where you're meeting multiple people, you're getting to know multiple people, and you know, you guys are, you know, you're dating, you're courting and all that type of shit. I'm past that. I know when I'm gonna know when my person comes in. Okay, I have full faith in that. Like, it's going to be annoying. And my thing is that we cannot intervene with another human being's free will. So even if God says this is what it's going to be, you know, God created the laws. You cannot interfere. You cannot interfere with another human being's free will. That is the number one rule that human beings have in protecting themselves from all things, spiritual and non-spiritual. You know. So, you know, this is why we have the privilege of choice and decisions. God leaves it up to us because this is our life. This is our birthright to choose. Okay? Because the thing, God can have something for you. God can have a person for you. But if they choose otherwise, there's nothing that God can do. Because God is not going to interfere with, you know, somebody else's free will. God loves everybody. Some people have favor. Favor is not fair. Okay? So, but when it comes to my grandma, you know, I'm just like, it's mostly your grief that I'm feeling. It's mostly your grief. Cause I'm not playing. I'm not playing out here. I'm so serious. I'm not playing. And the thing is that I'm transparent and I'm very vulnerable. I wear my heart on my sleeve. If I bring it to you easy, best believe if you fuck up, it's going to be so hard for you to get back in, because I will disappear on your ass. You will not be able to find me to be able to make the shit right. You know what I'm saying? If they want to make the shit right. So it's kind of like, if I make it easy for you and, you know, if I'm very giving, once you violate that shit, it's over. And it's really that simple with me. So I couldn't understand. I'm just like, why am I holding on? I could just feel this man in my heart. I'm just like, why is it here? Why am I, you know? And then I felt sick to my stomach. Like I wanted to throw up in the store. You know, I'm just like, oh my goodness. Like, what the fuck is going on? What the hell is going on? And then I felt like, I'm just like, oh my God, you know, I feel like I need to drink, you know? So I had told my son's father, I'm just like, you know, I'm not really feeling too good. I'm feeling a little depressed and I'm feeling a little sad, you know, and I told him, I said, you know, I think I want to drink tonight. So, of course, you know, that's like music to his ears. But, you know, as I began to walk throughout the store and just confront myself with a lot of things in which that I'm feeling, my thoughts about everything, I began to let go of the feeling of feeling like, you know, I needed some type of substance to be able to, you know, handle myself emotionally. You know, so I'm just like, woo, okay. But, you know, my thing is, you know, we'll have another chance. We'll have another opportunity. And I can also pick up that it's some bullshit going on with my family too. She's upset because of something that she knows that's going on with the family. So, you know, motherfuckers must be sitting around talking shit, plotting, making plans and all that type of bullshit. So I'm just like, well, whatever. She's just extremely disappointed. I'm just like, it's going to be okay, Grandma. But, you know, I have to talk about it. I have to get this shit out of me. I have to get it off my chest. I had to get the emotions out. I had to get, you know, the shit off my mind. Oh. So, my grandmother is an Aquarius, but I don't understand why I keep picking up on these. I don't even understand why I keep saying Aquarius vibes. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, well, my twin flame, I believe he's an Aquarius too. So there just may be some lessons in love that he has to learn as well. So he, you know, he may be picking up and feeling, and maybe he can relate to what my grandmother is experiencing. Okay, so this is some next level shit. I'm trying to tell you, I don't really deal with too much of, these emotions. Like I have a grip. I know exactly what to do, but it's kind of like emotionally, energetically, it's like all over the place. I'm just like, whoa. It definitely feels like family shit. I don't really fuck with my family. Okay. I'm not going to keep speaking on it, but I don't. And I know I'm about to get some news, and I know I'm about to get some news. Something is about to come out. Something is coming. Something is about to come out. What was going on in the dark is about to come to the light. And I think motherfuckers is scared as hell to come to me and talk to me. Well, you don't have to come to me, because I already knew about the shit, and I don't care anyway. It's, don't come to me with no fake ass remorse. I've been moved on. So now you can move the fuck on. Because with me moving on and not really dealing with my family, motherfuckers want to say I'm in the wrong for that. They want to try to make me feel like there's something wrong with me for that. And I'm just like, I know what's going on, but I cannot prove it. Just because I can't prove it doesn't mean I'm going to play along with the shit. You're not going to gaslight me. And I'm not going to surround myself around no motherfucking traitor ass, lying ass motherfuckers. You go your way, I go my way. Now, they'll have no choice but to let me go and leave me the fuck alone and stop talking shit about me and stop thinking that they got something over me to be able to keep me tied to this fucked family. Because I know they've been cruel. I tell you, boy, the older motherfuckers get, it seems like the crueler they fucking get. What's wrong? What the fuck is wrong? I'm sorry. But you know what? One day, I'm going to be old too. And nobody's going to give two shits about me. The body is going to change. My face is going to change. My body is going to change. Nobody is going to be looking at me. Nobody is going to be giving two shits about me. Because when it comes to older generations, it's kind of like it's like they feel thrown away. That's why you have to be living for yourself. I keep telling people, the older you are, those are the golden years. I'm not saying shit to make motherfuckers feel better. I'm telling the truth. I have worked in geriatrics for 8 years. Then on top of that, it just kind of seems like my life has just been always surrounded around older individuals. And when I have to deal with young people, I get fucking irritated. And then a lot of the times when I was doing my counseling and all that type of shit, I was dealing with older individuals. Ooh. Ooh. Had to get that shit out, baby. Push it, get it all out of me. Get that shit out of me, because I know motherfuckers is sitting around talking about she don't know, she's gonna get older, she's gonna do this, yes, I know that. I look forward to it, motherfucker. Shit, I don't want to be forever young, and I don't want to be here on earth for a long ass time. Shit. Especially depending on how life is going to go. If my body start breaking down, like, you can do the best that you can do with taking care of yourself, but some shit, it is what it is. Don't be trying to throw all that pessimistic, all that whining, crying ass shit on me. And I'm sorry, I'm not being very compassionate right now. I just don't want to hear it. You're still living. You're still breathing. You're walking, talking. You're not walking around with no fucking oxygen. Even if you were, you're still breathing. There's plenty of opportunity every day. There is opportunity to live. Just live. Live your fucking life. God. Sitting around withering away, being old and miserable. God. You don't got it like you used to have it. Who the fuck cares? I don't have it like I used to have it in my 20s. You don't see me fucking crying. I damn sure ain't have this double chin. Shit. Shit. We all got problems. We all going through shit. You think because you're going through it the most, you think you're going through more. You think your problems are so much more bigger than somebody else's. Oh, stop it. God. Want to hear that shit. Want to hear that shit. My goodness. Ooh. Yes. Get it up out of me. They stay with my motherfucking name in their mouth. I'm trying to tell you, I don't want to be like these old ass, uptight ass, mean ass women. They cannot even connect to younger women. You know, they cannot connect to the youth. Like, they are so egotistical. And a lot of these older men are so egotistical. Everybody is just so fucking miserable. So miserable. And they feel what they feel and what they think is a contradiction because they feel like crap, but they think that they're all of that. Well, which one is it? God, you know, my family, my dad's side of the family, they don't even know me and my sisters, but they look at and they judge me and my sisters a certain way. And I'm just like, you know, they got money. You know, black people with money are the worst. They really are. They're the worst. God, you might, you know, and then you want to sit there and talk shit about white people. Well, damn, you might as well bleach your goddamn skin because you act the same fucking way. Shit. And I'm just, you know, the white men that I have, the older white men that I have dated, they don't act like this. God. You know, they out here, they out here. Child, they out here trying to bust a nut and they happy when they get it. They so thankful about the shit. You know, it's not all this heavy grieving, all this insecurity, you know, and it's nothing wrong. I understand, like I said, I understand people's insecurity. I understand, like, you know, the way that you look is changing. The way you feel in your body is changing. The way that people respond to you, the things that they say to you is changing and all that type of stuff. I understand. I got a wrinkle in my neck. You know, it don't matter how old you are because the neck give it away. It don't matter how young you are because the neck give it away. Then I got the double chin. Like, yeah, I can fix that. But at the same time, shit, you know, I'm not trying to be in the gym busting down hard iron. I'm trying to be gentle with my body. I'm trying to love on my body from all those years of abuse with smoking them goddamn cigarettes. I'm trying to learn how to appreciate my body more. My goddamn titties is sore as a bitch. They fucking sore. I don't wear no fucking bras, man. I don't wear no bras. You know, bras, you know, I don't like anything that like alters my body shape. You know how women be wearing like the butt lifting girdles and all that type of shit, so it's sucking your stomach and got your butt out. But it's just like, well, when you take that shit off and when somebody see you naked, the shit don't look the same. You know, I'm just like, man, fuck all that. You know, them bras be misleading because they push your titties all the way up to your chin and you take the bra off and them bitches hitting your stomach. You know, like, I can't do that shit. I stopped wearing bras, I want to say in 2018. You know, I don't have the most perkiest titties, but I don't have, you know, I mean, shit, when you have children, them bitches gonna sag, so you can hang it up. Shit. Whatever. My titties. My titties be hurting. They just so sore. You know? Goodness. It's like this discomfort in my body, the discomfort in my emotional state, the discomfort in my mind. Whew. You know, this is the part of the metamorphosis to where we're breaking down inside of the cocoon. You know, that caterpillar goes into that cocoon and it breaks down into mush. It breaks down into nothing. And then the cells rebuild itself, it reforms, and that's when it starts developing the butterfly. So, you know, I'm just like, hell yeah, a lot of shit is breaking down right now. And it's part, you know, it's a part of the cycle of life. So it's kind of like, well, you know, you got to go through it. Like my grandma said, you got to go through to get to. Shit. Ooh. Oh my goodness. Ooh. It's, you know, it's like we have to find more gratitude. You know, gratitude helps to create happiness. It's one of the tools that helps create happiness. You know, there's so much negativity that you can focus in on, but there's other positive things that you can focus on too. You know, I'm having to push myself, you know, mentally, because I'm just so, you know, I'm breaking down and shit. You know, I'm just a mess on the inside right now. And I'm sitting up here trying to build my mind. I'm just like, man, fuck it. I'm just gonna let go. I'm just gonna allow myself to break. I'm gonna say what I want to say. I'm gonna allow these feelings. I'm just gonna allow this shit to happen to me, because I can't stop it from happening anyway. Ooh. I feel like I'm at the I usually don't come on my cycle until the beginning of the month. You know, my titties don't start getting like tender until like the beginning of the month. So I'm just like, you know, I don't know if my cycle is about to change, because sometimes it should be changing. You know, that's been going on ever since I was a little girl. You know, I used to come on the 18th every month. You know, now I come on between the 5th and the 6th of the month, the 5th and the 7th. You know, at one point in time, I used to come on at the end of the month. I'm just like, girl, make up your mind. When you coming? The body be going through some changes. That should be, it's crazy. I think I'm just most annoyed because my titties are sore. You know, and it's like when they're sore, a lot of the times, you know, that's a sign that they're getting like bigger too. You know, because at first my body started packing on so much weight. And I'm just like, damn, my titties look small and my stomach, my stomach look big as a bitch. I'm just like, what is going on? What the fuck is going on? So then, you know, I've been eating healthier, so I've been slimming down a little bit. So now I'm noticing, I look down, I'm just like, damn, my titties look like, they look bigger now. They look, you know, they look how they once looked before. You know, I tell you, having titties is a motherfucker, because sometimes that bitch be under my armpit. I be like, what? That shit, that should be under my armpit. I'd be like, well, goddamn. Ooh, child. What the fuck ever. You know, I embrace things. You know, a lot of the things that scare me, I just tell myself, I'm just going to embrace it. I'm just going to embrace it. Shit. Ooh. It was so heavy. Yes, let's release that. Get it up out of me. Ooh. Get it up out of me. Ooh. Shit, well, I deserve a counseling session for myself. Consider, you know, I'm helping, healing, you know, helping other people. I need to help myself too. And I appreciate those that came in to help and assist me, you know, with confronting me about the shit. Because I damn sure was trying to suppress it. I wasn't even aware I was trying to suppress it, but I was trying to suppress it. So, you know, when I went outside, when I got under that sun, it's like that shit just hit me. The truth just hit me. So I'm just like, all right, fuck it. You know, and I can't sit here and lie to myself, because my spirit guides know. You know, God knows what you're thinking. The devil hears what you hear. You know, so it's kind of like either way, you can't run. So you might as well just be true to yourself. You know, like love yourself. You might as well be true, because you can't run away from yourself. So if there are any other people who may be going through the same thing in which I'm going through, you know, maybe you're going through things with family, you may be going through things with lovers or what have you, you know, allow for things to just kind of break down, you know, allow for what's not good for you to exit. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the times when we're being guarded, we're protecting what we want to protect. You know, sometimes you're protecting the bad stuff and you're guarding yourself from the good stuff. You know what I'm saying? Be brave. You know, it's time to be brave. I know shit be scary, and I know motherfuckers think, you know, I really don't know what motherfuckers be thinking, but I'm just like, I feel like motherfuckers think that I can't empathize or I can't relate. You know, I don't have to be going through what you're going through in order to be able to empathize or relate. You're going through things in a way to where I'm going through it too. It's just in a different way. You know, it's one mountain, but there are many ways to get to the top of that mountain. It's not just one way. You know, and I really hope, well, I'm not going to say I hope, you know, I'm going to speak it into existence. Because I be watching women with their daughters. And, sometimes I'm just like, man, I love my son to death. Wouldn't trade him for the world. But at the same time, I be thinking about what it would be like to have a daughter. You know, somebody who can come to me when she's going through issues with her girlfriends, people at school, when she needs a shoulder to cry on, when these little knuckleheads hurt her feelings and all this type of shit like that. Even, why do I feel so emotional? Ooh. Even when it comes to, they having their little attitudes and shit, I don't really give a fuck about that. My thing is, I can take a little girl's attitude better than I can take the boys. Because you can kind of expect for the girls to be nasty and catty, and just hormonal as hell. But with the boys, it's a little different. It's kind of like, well, damn, what's wrong with you? It's just like, you need to fight that out. Like, what's going on? You need a punching bag or something? Like, what's up? Because, when them boys, when they get in them teens, they trying to get into that manhood. They want to be tough and all that type of shit. And then you as their mother, they don't want you looking at them like they're weak, like they can't do something. You know what I mean? They're trying to show mom, like, Mom, I'm a man, Right. But they ain't got no problem with asking you for them goddamn shoes. Them goddamn shoes and the clothes and the games and the game systems. I need a new chair. I need this. I want this. I want that. I want that coat. I want, I do feel emotional. It's like in my head. It's like my head wants to cry, like it's in my face, but I don't feel it in my heart, Just breathe, Gotta keep breathing. Just keep breathing. I'm not going to let you drown. I'm not going to let you throw yourself away. We're going to breathe it out. I want to, nobody can save you. You know what I'm saying? You got to save yourself. But I can help you save yourself. You know what I'm saying? Whew. All right. I'm hungry now. I'm ready to eat. All right. So, we're going to wrap it up there. So, until the next time, we'll talk again. Thank you.